This is Dr. Andrew Jones. In this edition of Veterinary Secrets, I'm going to be discussing some potentially disturbing news about my dog Lewis. Hi you guys, so I did a video on Lewis a few months ago. I don't know if any of you remember it. And at the time I thought he had eaten a bone and punctured part of his mouth. I took him into the veterinary clinic. He had some surgery done. A little sample of the tissue was taken out, along with a couple of infected teeth. The biopsy results came back, and essentially they're pretty non-conclusive, showing likely, based on the biopsy opinion, right, something fairly benign, not super serious. But since that time, he's had an issue with his mouth. So that's been over 2 months. He's had been progressively more difficult for him to eat. I've been softening his food. It's more of a canned kind of mixture now. And it's just been very painful for him to open his mouth. But now things have progressed. I'm just going to show you what it is. I actually have him scheduled to go into the clinic just after lunch today. So he's going to be under anesthesia again, going into surgery to actually figure out exactly what's going on with him. So here's his left eye. There's a bit of a discharge here. It's a little bit swollen. All along here where my finger is, this left side of his cheek is slightly swollen. And if it put any degree of any force on there, it's fairly painful for him. So my concern, and that's the area where he had a couple of teeth taken out, along with having that necrotic center tissue. So my concern is that that's some type of mouth tumor, potentially has gone into the bone. So as I said, in the next few hours we're going to be going into the clinic. And we'll know exactly at least I think then I'll know exactly what's going on with him. I actually had him scheduled in to go in on Thursday last week, but I know something's more serious going on, and I maybe acted by like how many of you have, where I actually had him scheduled to go in. I canceled the appointment, or I canceled the potential surgery, in part because I'm a bit worried about what actually he has going on. Do you really want to know? No, maybe that makes sense or not, I don't know. Regardless, I'll be going in the next few hours, and I'll do a bit of a video there before or after. At least then you'll know, and I'll know exactly what he has. So this is now Tuesday. Lewis had his surgery performed yesterday, and now I'm just going to show you a little bit of a clip of some of what we found in the surgery. So as you can see, it's a pretty nasty looking soft tissue tumor that's gotten quite invasive, and it's spreading in the middle part of Lewis's mouth, immediately spreading up towards his left eye and his orbit. So you're actually able to palpate the edge of the bone onto the eye, and then it's also spreading the other way in the other part of the gum, and just sort of pushing that whole, as you can see, it's just essentially eroding that area of the mouth, eroding all the soft tissue, opening all up along to the upper part of his jaw or his maxilla into the bone. So during surgery, a moderate amount of that tissue was able to be removed, but it's very invasive and is spread all over, so there's no way all of that mass could be taken out. So as far as what type of tumor, some type of invasive soft tissue tumor that is growing moderately fast, because as you know, it was about 6 weeks ago Lewis was initially in for surgery, and at the time I thought it was he had sort of had injured his mouth because he was actually out chewing on bones that the neighbor gave him, and there was a small sort of lesion in the back corner of his mouth that originally came back as essentially relatively benign, mild inflammatory tissue. As far as pain stuff, Prior to him waking up, he was given more hydromorphone, which is a narcotic, and then as well he's also had a fentanyl patch. So it's another narcotic patch that's a slow release pain killing patch, which is actually on his left fore here, which is giving him really good pain control, as well as he's on an antibiotic, a metronidazole, as well as a conventional anti-inflammatory meloxicam. The big things, I mean, I'm having the discussion while Lewis was under surgery with my former associate Leanne, who was saying, if potentially if he was a client's dog, we might have called right then to say, this is a pretty serious tumor, we can't resect it, your dog is comfortable now, he's not in pain, we could euthanize him now. I wasn't, partly denial and because I couldn't actually fully open Lewis's mouth. I didn't know the extent of this tumor, so it's pretty substantial. And what's happened is that he now can't fully open his mouth. It's too sore, so he partly opens his mouth. He's been primarily, licking soft food, able to eat a little bit of kibble if it's moistened. But dogs are pretty stoic, unlike us. So in part of it, the decision was made. I want to say make the decision to obviously not euthanize him then, because here he is. And treat him with some good pain medication, bring him home, and have the discussion with my family. So now we know just how serious it is. And Lewis will die from this tumor. It's going to get to the point where it grows enough, it's going to affect his ability. He's either going to be too uncomfortable, he's not going to be able to eat. And then a decision will be made. But I'm feeling that as long as he's given adequate pain control, and we're treating any secondary infections, as well, I'm adding honey back in again. I think that really actually helped that mass. And secondary to, I'm also going to look at getting some CBD oil, which is the cannabis oil, which is proven to be really effective as far as pain medication, as far as being a good appetite stimulant, and it's something that you can actually squirt in orally. So I'm going to look at getting that as well too, and if that's the case, I'm going to do a bit of a video on that. So I'm going to be giving him good pain stuff, making sure as long as he's able to drink and eat. He went for a good walk this morning, he went to the bathroom, he had a great sleep last night, he ate a ton of food this morning, which is awesome. He's a bit sedated, in part he doesn't like being on the video. Secondly too, he's on this fentanyl patch, he's also given some other pain meds. So he's going to act a bit sedated. So that's my take, and it's all about, good quality of life, managing pain. Yeah, it's just, unfortunately, it sucks. And, I was hoping, in part denial, it was something I could go in and could be easily removed, or, it's something else. Maybe there's an abscess, and we just need to treat an infection. Maybe there's a little piece of bone lodged in somewhere, but no, that's not the case. So thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all those super positive comments that most of you leave. Thanks for just being part of this little story. I'll keep you updated with Lewis as anything changes, and as I try some new alternative stuff as far as pain relief. In the back of my mind, I'm kind of hoping there's like one thing I can give that's going to shrink that tumor. Definitely, I'm starting him on. I had him on a dandelion tincture, so dandelion root tincture. He's getting back on that again, and I'm going to look at some, as I said, some CBD oil, which I can give orally and potentially get on there topically too.